Hi folks, it's Barry again from Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio Repair, and I got a surprise for you. Today we're going to show, number one, why Barry's 8-Track Repair is the world's only shop that can do a proper job on capstan resurfacing, and then number two, how important it is to keep your capstan clean after you receive your tape deck back. So we're just going to start right in here, and I've got my overhead camera going on here so we can get some close-up views of a few things if I can just find it. Let me cancel out this one here, and we'll bring our overhead cam. There's our overhead cam. Turn on a little bit of light, and the first thing I'm going to show you is a typical capstan. You know what? Let's go back to me for a moment here, so I can explain what the capstan is. This is your capstan / flywheel assembly. This part is the capstan. It's just a vertical steel post, and then of course this is your flywheel. And the way that 8-track player is made is the motor turns a belt, the belt wraps around this flywheel, turns it, and then the capstan turns along with it, and the capstan is what actually pulls your tape through. Now, not only does the capstan have to pull the tape through, it has to pull the entire hub full of tape along with it. So it's got a pretty demanding job, and it needs to be kept clean so that you don't get speed variations, dragging, things like that. And later on I will show you just how badly an 8-track tape dirties up a capstan. So for the moment, we're just going to describe a few things about how I resurface capstans, and we're going to start with what you'll see when you open up just about any 8-track player. When you peek through the tape door, this is what you're going to see on the capstan. You got that shiny 1/4-inch band, which is the result of the abrasive tape going past it. And this is such a common sight that I even had customers say that other shops have told them that it's supposed to be like this. That is not true. That shiny band is not supposed to be there. So now I'm going to show you a brand new, never used capstan salvaged from a bunch of transports that I acquired years ago. And you can see that the surface that drives the tape is got a matte finish. It's not shiny like the rest of it because this surface and that surface, those are bearing surfaces. Those need to be kept smooth and shiny. But the part that drives the tape has to have that rough finish so that it can properly grip the tape. So that's a brand new, never used capstan. And this is my job on a capstan resurfacing. I have just resurfaced this capstan. And as you can see, I use a sandblaster for resurfacing capstan, which is really about the only thing you can use besides, say, some kind of acid solution to etch it. But the sandblasting gives you a little bit more penetration. You can see the little shiny particles from the metal actually being penetrated by the blast media. And this is basically my job on resurfacing a capstan, which works far better than any other techniques used by their shops, such as trying to sand it, using a wire wheel with a drill, all that stuff. So now that we've covered that, we're going to go to our unit here. I've got a unit set up that I've actually just completed servicing on, and we're just going to focus on that, give us a little more light down here, and I'll explain where your capstan is on this machine. This is a Craig Pioneer unit, and just a quick rundown. This is your track change sensor right there. It's just two pieces of metal that the foil splice on your tape engages when it passes. That's what triggers the mechanism to change tracks. This, of course, is your playback head. That's what actually picks up the music. And this is our capstan, which is partially obscured by this strange little retention mechanism they have. This is your vertical capstan, and as you can see, the capstan has been resurfaced by myself. It has that rough finish. And now what I'm going to show you, which may surprise you a great deal, is how fast an 8-track tape will wear down a capstan. And before I go into that, I will explain a few other things. If I can just find myself. There's myself. Okay, an 8-track tape, because it needs to slide between layers and it also needs to slide on the hub, and this is covered in a previous video that I did on my website. 8-track tape is coated with graphite, a very messy, powdery substance that anytime you look into the open end of an 8-track tape, you're going to see evidence of this black residue, in places, and in some on older tapes, you're going to see it all over the place. So because of that, the capstan is especially important driving the tape through that it has that matte surface or that abrasive surface, so that it can properly drive the tape. Because since there's so much graphite going on here, it's of course impregnated in the tape. It gets all over the tape roller. So in order to really properly maintain your 8-track collection, you also have to clean your tapes from time to time. And what I do is I just take a pair of tweezers, pull that tape aside just enough to get to the roller, and then I wipe that roller off. Rubbing alcohol works fine. It evaporates within a matter of seconds. It's not going to cause any undue harm to the rubber roller like a lot of people say it will. If you're really paranoid about that, you can use rubber cleaner. That's just fine. So now we'll go to our tape machine, if I can find it. There's our tape machine, and we've seen that this is our capstan. And I'm going to go ahead and play this tape, and you'll be able to tell by the way the tape sounds that this is a tape that's in excellent condition. It's got a nice bright sound, plenty of high frequencies, and we're going to let this tape play for about 10 seconds, and then I'm going to pull it out, and you'll see how much residue accumulates on that capstan in a mere 10 seconds. So here we go. Okay, it's been about 10 seconds, so let's pop the tape out, and you can already see that this capstan already has a couple of bands around it from the residue deposited from the tape onto the capstan. So that gives you an idea right there of just how quickly that residue can build up on your capstan, and in turn, how fast the capstan can get so slick and smooth that it will no longer drive the tape through properly. So if I let this tape in for an hour, then you would most likely see a shiny band around the whole thing. Now, it's easy to think that my resurfacing has worn off, but what I'll do right now is show you that it's only on the surface. It's the result of that graphite, which can be shiny. It's the same material that pencil lead is made of, and we're just going to give this a quick wipe down with household rubbing alcohol. Works fine for this. The 8-track tape has plenty of problems already to where using what some consider the wrong cleaning solvents is really not going to make that much difference. Okay, so we've just given this capstan a quick going over with rubbing alcohol, and that buildup is mostly gone. There's still a little bit there. If I kept at it for a while, then of course it would be completely gone. So that explains that. So that's how quickly that this residue can get all over your tape machine, your head, your capstan, and that is why with every repaired 8-track unit I send back, I include a sheet explaining how important it is to maintain your own machine. Now, how do you do that? Well, okay, we're going to go right into that right now. There are a few ways. Naturally, you have to. Most people are going to end up cleaning it through the tape opening, because on some machines it's just either dangerous or impractical for the customer to take the cover off and get to these parts. So there's a few tricks that I've learned over the years. The first thing is almost all 8-track machines have an accessible power switch that will start that motor turning. On this particular unit, that power switch is right back here. It's usually just a leaf switch that you press it down, and you can see that capstan turning. If you're able to safely put something in there to keep that switch pressed down, then you can simply hold something against the capstan that is impregnated with alcohol, and the capstan turning against it will make an attempt to clean it. It may not be a great job, but it's definitely better than nothing. So now that we've covered how to turn your machine on from the outside to get that capstan rotating, here's a few little tricks that I've learned. If I can find myself again, there I am. One thing you can do is you can take just a regular pencil, the eraser end of a pencil with a new eraser, and poke it through a piece of cloth like that, and hold that cloth pretty tight so that it takes up as little width as possible. And with that cloth, you can actually get in there and clean your capstan that way. If you're able to get the capstan turning, that's good. If you're afraid to turn the machine on, that's just fine. The only thing is that you'll have to clean a part of it, stick a tape in there to rotate that capstan a little bit, pull the tape back out, and hope that you end up exposing enough of the dirty surfaces that you can eventually clean the entire capstan. Now, there's another really cool trick that I've kind of come up with, is just take a regular 8-track tape, pop it open, remove the roller. Now, of course, we're talking about a bad tape. You don't want to do this to one of your favorite tapes, but just pop that tape open, remove the roller, replace that with a wad of cloth, and then drip a few drops of alcohol onto that cloth, and then you pop that tape into your machine, and the capstan is going to turn against that cloth and clean itself. Again, that's not nearly as effective as a good old-fashioned manual cleaning, using enough force to get the job done in a relatively short time, but it's another measure that'll work. Now we're going to talk about 8-track head cleaning cartridges. Don't even waste your money or your time. They do absolutely nothing. And by that I mean, quite literally, they do nothing whatsoever. All they were was a gimmick. You might see a little bit of residue on the cleaning material when you pull the cartridge out, but it is nothing. It's not even 5% of what's remaining in your machine. Don't even mess with 8-track head cleaners. They do absolutely nothing. Now, a VCR head cleaner, yes, they would get you through a movie. If you were watching a movie and suddenly your picture starts flashing, you're only getting every other frame because one of the video heads got dirty. Yeah, a VCR head cleaning tape usually would, clean enough to get you through a movie. But that is because that head on a VCR is on a drum that rotates at 1800 RPM. So even with the tape slowly moving past it, that head drum is spinning like crazy. And then yes, that'll clean your VCR heads enough to probably get you through a movie until you can get it to a shop to have it professionally cleaned. On an 8-track that runs at 3 3/4 inches per second, it's a very slow tape speed. A head cleaning cartridge is going to do absolutely nothing, and all it will do is give you a false sense of security, thinking that you've done a cleaning job on your machine, and it's still just as dirty as it was before. It's not going to do any good at all. I've also seen a few Capstan cleaning cartridges, which basically have a little bit of abrasive material right here. You can probably drip a few drops of alcohol on that, stick it in there, and it'll once again do kind of a perfunctory job, but it's just not any kind of substitute for actually getting in there and cleaning your tape transport heads, capstan, track change sensor, and tape path manually. It's not expected that the customer goes inside his unit by taking the cover off. It can all be done by simply opening up the tape door. So I think I pretty much covered the importance of keeping your capstan clean. If you start getting speed variations or your tape is starting to drag, in the case of tapes that have plastic rollers, some of them may even not play at all once that capstan gets slippery enough and it needs cleaning. So there's a little food for thought, some really good advice based on my 10 or actually 11 years of doing almost nothing but 8-track players, whether they be for home or car. And so that's a pretty good little lesson in how important it is to keep your capstan clean and how to do that. This is Barry from Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio Repair. For service, you can reach me directly at 928-533-9666. You can also visit my website, barrys8trackrepair.com. That's BARRYS, number 8, trackrepair.com. If the apostrophe confuses you, then you can just visit simply classiccarradiorepair.com, and there's a link right there on the homepage that'll take you directly to my main website, which is Barry's 8-Track Repair. Thank you very much for watching and listening.